Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cozy
Hi.
Corner Chronicles.
Woo!
I'm Julia.
I'm
Oh,
Liz.
you couldn't see it if you listened to us on Spotify, but Liz just took our tongue into blue. Did you eat
Yeah.
candy?
No, I had a ocean water.
Oh, Sonic?
Yes, and I asked
Dude,
for a strawberry ocean water, and he definitely did not give me that, so that's awkward.
refund immediately.
Immediately,
I actually haven't had ocean water in a really long time. I actually haven't had Sonic in a really long time.
dude. So Crew and we went to go take pictures for his
hmm
mom's birthday, so we're giving it to her as a gift. He plays baseball now, so we went to the fields, and he was like running around. He was
Oh,
like, "Auntie Liz, I'm thirsty," and I was like, I definitely did not bring you any water. So let's just go to Sonic.
period. Did he get ocean water too, or what?
No, he got a blue raspberry slushy with nerds.
Oh my God, I used to love the nerds. Like, that was my thing.
I never got
Okay.
nerds in the drink because I don't know. I just felt weird about it.
That's fair. Well, Crew has good taste, so we stand.
Period.
But, anyways, I know it's been a while. This will come out after I edit the author interview because dude, it's been like over a month and I just haven't had any time because I've been traveling so much
Yes,
that
you've been like all over the world.
Mrs. Worldwide.
Miss
No.
Worldwide.
Really, it's just me going to like the next door, like states, because it's easy. But whatever. Anyways, yeah, so we haven't done this in a while. We decided we are going to read a thriller. I'm putting air quotes around thriller because to me, it was more of a murder mystery.
Yeah, low key. Low key.
So, but we're pitting the cozy and cozy corner because it's November 2nd, which means it's Christmas basically. So
Period.
we rep
Okay,
in.
whoever
We rep in.
whoever decides or no, whoever disagrees that after Halloween, literally after October 31st, the next day, 12 a.m., November 1st, isn't Christmas, get out.
Yeah,
Just get out.
because I get it. Thanksgiving, but who's decorating for Thanksgiving?
Who
Come on now.
decorates for
Come on
Thanksgiving?
now.
Come on. Come on.
And also,
And
all the stores are putting out their Christmas stuff. So therefore, it's Christmas.
exactly.
So for October, yes, we know it's November. Okay. Okay.
Mind your
But
business.
yeah, but for October, we did decide that we're going to read a thriller. Like I said, air quotes on the thriller.
Yes.
So what did we decide to read?
We read Love Mom, and it
Mm-hmm.
is by, let me check just to be
Was
sure
it
so
like
I don't say the
Ileana?
wrong
Yeah, I'm like,
thing. Look, I have to pull up my Kindle. Hello, library.
same,
Yeah,
same.
Ileana Xander.
You know, Liz and I don't have the best track record with loving books that people suggest.
Right.
So,
Okay. So it says this is from Goodreads. It has 9,683 reviews, and 122,000 ratings. It's a 4.2 on Goodreads. And what it says is Mackenzie Casper is a brilliant student, but she is best known for her mother, a best selling author whose dark, twisted thrillers have a dedicated worldwide fan base. When her mother dies in an accident, fans across the world are left grieving, and other investigators are asking, was this really an accident? The day of the memorial service, Mackenzie gets the first mysterious envelope signed from number one fan XOXO. Inside are the pages of her mother's diary that start with the lines, "Want to know a secret? Love Mom." What Mackenzie reads leaves her in shock. But then comes the second letter, and the third. Mackenzie starts her own investigation and stumbles upon secrets that her family has lived with for years. Quickly, she realizes that her mother's path to stardom was etched with sinister lies that might have caught up with her. Sometimes fame is worth a murder, or worse. Soon, Mackenzie will come to find out that there are worse things than murder.
dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
So, with that being said, now that you guys know what the book is about, if that's
Yes.
intriguing to you, then pick it up. It is on Kindle Unlimited if you are a Kindle Unlimited subscriber like we are.
Yes.
If you're not, I think it's at Barnes and Noble. I actually didn't check, so don't
I
quote me
own
on
the
that.
book. She's really cute. So, yes,
Okay.
at Barnes and Nobles. Barnes
Okay,
and Noble.
great. Noble. Oh, yeah, you're right. Ooh, not the. So, with that being said, we're not going to do like a Spark Notes, but better because honestly speaking, no one's reading this for English classes, I'm sure.
That
But
part.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. They did read Agatha Christie, so I could be wrong. But let's just get into it. So, thoughts wise, I did read this in one sitting. We had discussed it.
Hmm.
And my overall thoughts is that it's probably my favorite murder mystery quote thriller, whatever you want to call it, that we've read thus far on the podcast.
For yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that we were led astray with
Mm-hmm.
many of the psych thrillers that we tried to read, but this one, it was an easy read. It was an easy plot to follow, and like you said, I read it also in one sitting, so it kept me
Yeah,
entertained.
exactly. It was entertaining. I think I will get into negatives before I do positives because I want to
Yeah.
end on like a positive note.
Hmm.
The one thing I could have lived without in this book was honestly EJ. Like I love EJ. I
Uh-huh.
like his character, but I didn't necessarily think that romance needed to be in this plot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, however, it was a good relief of some sorts.
Yes.
Like, because I feel like if they were just like murder, 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 and then like research, 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 like the whole time I would have been like, I do agree it was a little like out of place.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end it was cute.
Yes, I agree. The ending was very cute, but hear me out. Had she not had EJ, I think it would have been more of a psych thriller because I think she would have gone
Mm.
actually crazy. Hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. This would have
Eat
gone a
down.
different way if EJ wasn't in the plot, though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay, no. No, for sure. And
Yeah.
I think going off of your cons, I think that this book was a little predictable.
Yes, I absolutely thought it was so
Okay,
predictable.
because at one point I was like, oh my gosh, it's so not her, or like she's still alive, or like da 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 da. And I just kept like, I think I was like thinking ahead more than I was like reading the book, like if that makes
Right.
sense. I was like coming up with my own thing, and I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that shit, it happened, whatever.
But that's
But
like what psych thrillers are supposed to be. You're supposed, but like I guess that's also that kind of brings a debate. Do people read psych thrillers because they want it to be unpredictable, or do people like to be right and predict? This is like,
yeah.
what do you like about psych thrillers?
So for me, like I've read a couple of Frida books, right? And I like that her plot twists are like, oh my god, I did
Mm.
not see that coming. Like, remember I keep pushing you to read The Teacher?
Yeah, and I still haven't read it. I'm so
Yeah, okay,
sorry.
I'm just gonna tell you about it
Okay,
because
okay, bet.
yeah.
Spoiler alert! Don't
Spoiler
listen.
alert.
Skip. I'll put
Yes, please
timestamp.
skip if you want to read The Teacher and have not read it yet. So basically, okay, from what I can remember, it's it's this girl who ends up falling in love with her teacher, the all the things, it's weird and gross, right? And then they end up killing someone. I like from let me just
Oh,
piece it
what?
together. Sorry, they end up killing somebody or whatever, blah 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 blah. And there's like, I want to say there's like this lady who's like trying to get them to, or trying to get them caught, or of some sorts, right? Okay, but then, and this boy, there's this boy, but anyways, the plot twist is that like at the end, they're also in a relationship, the boy and the other teacher. Like it was like I was literally like mind fucked. Like I was like, oh wow, like
Hold on.
I didn't see that coming. Like
Yeah.
I know I
Whoa.
just did a horrible job doing like a Spark Notes but better for you, but like I can't even remember the most of
But
the
the whole
story,
yeah,
but
that's
I
crazy.
remember the
But the
plot
plot twist.
twist. Yes.
Wow.
Hold on.
Honestly speaking, so okay. So I will say that with this book, yes, it was predictable. But for me, I was like, okay, great. Because I guess, I don't know, it's hard to explain because I guess if an author is good at dropping hints, for instance, for
Hmm.
you to catch on, I think that's the author doing their job. But let's
Hmm.
say the author was trying to make it a quote plot twist. I don't think Ileana necessarily had plot twists, but I think she set it up
Yes.
so that you could predict what was going to happen because she was dropping hints here and there for you to
Hmm.
be like, oh, maybe this is what's going to happen. And then she presents it and it does happen.
Right. And I guess the only really psych thriller ish thing about this book was the letters. Like, I think for me, when I read it, like, not that I want to be scared because, like, I'm not reading a horror book, right? But I want to feel like itchy. Like, I want to be like, what is going to happen? Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is going on? But I don't think in this book I ever felt that way. I was just
Agreed.
like, dang, I wonder who these letters are from. And at one
Right.
point I was like, what if it's EJ? And I was like, the only reason I thought it was EJ was because he was so close to the story, right?
Yes, I
And that
thought so
he
too.
right, and that he was so close to like the investigation, and like he had these friends, like that were helping her uncover all of these like addresses and all the things. Remember when they met Diane and or Diana, whatever her name is. Um but like I was just like, oh, like maybe it's EJ. Like he somehow got a hold of the diary and like all this stuff. But again, I think the plot twist at the end was that who had the diary.
Yeah. I know, and I just like I wasn't expecting it to be what's his name, Gunther,
Yeah, Gunther.
Grunger or
Grunger,
something like that.
Grunger, Grunger.
I was like, because then they said his real name at the ending, and I was like, who is that? Like at first, I was like, who even is that? They never said his real name. We only know him as Grunger.
Right.
So I don't know, and he wasn't even all that special. Like I was like, okay,
And that's the other thing. I don't think she did that. I feel like we're just shitting on the book now. But anyways, I feel like she didn't do that good of a job giving him more motive, right?
I
Because
agree.
the only motive he had was the fact that he realized, oh, like this is not Elizabeth or whatever. Let me, and when they like had their little hoo-ha or whatever, and he swiped the diary, like there was really no motive behind why he grabbed the diary in the first place.
Right, exactly. Like he just did it almost like as a contingency because he knew that Tanya was like obsessed with Lizzie.
Right.
And I don't know, I agree with you on that. But okay, let's just now we're gonna go to the positives, okay?
Yeah.
So we promise we're not just shitting on the book. Like we
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
did
yeah.
like the book. Don't you guys worry. We're just starting off with the cons so that you guys can be like, oh, what are the positives? So
Yeah.
what I really did like about it though was because I like when a book has a complete, like full circle, you get your answers. Like when we had
Mm-hmm.
read Happiness Falls and there was still no answer, I can't explain my frustration, but I
I
loved that
struggled.
this book, yes, like I loved that this book gave you the answers that you were looking for. And it did it in a very timely manner. Like we weren't reading
Mm-hmm.
10 chapters to
Mm-hmm.
never get an
Mm-hmm.
answer. The whole book, like you get your answers that you're looking for.
And I feel sad that Happiness Falls is really the only psych thriller, again in quotations, that we can really compare this story to because we haven't read much of them, right? We're romance readers. We love romance. We just can't give that up, okay? But because Happiness Falls is the only thing we do have to compare it to, I think that we got, like you said, the satisfaction of what we were looking for in terms of who was writing the letters, what happened to Lizzie, where did Tanya come in out of all of this, and how did that affect Mackenzie? Because there was also another plot twist towards the end that Ben wasn't her dad.
Yeah, and I was so happy. Honestly, the
Oh,
whole
me
time
too.
though, after that letter where they revealed that she went to John's house, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure John's like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you know.
I thought that too. Another pro about this book was, like we mentioned in the beginning, like it's such an easy read. You literally can read it in one sitting, and even though it wasn't necessarily a short read, but like it kept rolling. Like there was never a
Mhm.
point where like I put down my Kindle and I was like, oh, it's still going.
Yeah.
It
And I
was
think that says a
fast.
lot. Yeah, that says a lot about when you're able to keep the attention in a psych thriller because I feel like a lot of psych thrillers for me, a lot of it's build up, like kind of like romantasy or fantasy. You have a lot of build up because you have to get to know the characters, you have to know the backstory. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes things get lost in translation and therefore you get
Mm-hmm.
bored. But like you said, this author did a really good job of honestly going to the past, bringing it
Mm-hmm.
to the present,
Mm-hmm.
going back to the past, bringing it back to the present. And I think some books don't really do that. Like No One Come For Me, but The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I know TikTok blew that book up and everyone was like, this is my favorite read. It's easily 5 stars. But when I read it, I was like, yeah, it was good. You know, like,
It's giving 4 3 3.
yeah, maybe 2.5. No, No One Come For Me. But maybe I just don't appreciate literature like that. But the thing is like, that book had a lot of back forth, back forth, back forth. But then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't even know what I'm like back forthing at this
Right,
point.
right.
But here, Very concise. You get the letter, it brings you to the past. You come back
Mhm.
to the present, and it's telling you in that moment as she's reading, like what their next steps are going to be. And I
Right.
appreciate that because I don't know. Sometimes when I read a book, I don't want to think, right? Like this is a book
Yeah.
where I don't
You
have
just
to
want it to
really
go.
think.
Right. And I
So,
think another con about the book, or sorry, not a con, another pro. Another pro about the book was it gave you enough space to be like imaginative about what was going to happen next. Yes, the book was predictable, but you could still be like, "Oh shit, like who is doing this or how's she going to get there?" Or even when she ended up going to the college town back with her professor
yep, she got the
and
closure.
right. And then remember when they turned and he was like, "Oh yeah, they're known for the guard here with sharp teeth." And then that makes you spark, "Oh my gosh, she has a book like literally it says sharp teeth,
Yep.
sharp teeth, sharp teeth." And so like it made you think even though it was predictable. If that
Right.
makes
And
sense?
yes, and I think like the amount of thinking wasn't so tremendous that you're like, dude,
Your
I'm
brain is
losing interest in
burning.
my brain hurts,
Yes.
right? Like I'm not doing an escape room. I'm
Yeah.
like just reading and having fun, but also being imaginative. I
Yeah.
also will say that for me, another pro in the book was the fact, hold on, without me just forgetting what my train of thought was. I literally started talking and then I started thinking about something
She
else and then
said
I literally
no.
lost my train of thought. But what was I going to say? Okay, well, keep going because I forgot. Come back to
um
me.
yeah, so I guess we can just kind of get into the synopsis of the book. We've been
Yeah.
talking about the book like everybody knows about it and they don't. So um the book starts off at the funeral pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They find out that this amazing writer who writes under the pen name EV Renge, which
It's like an
I
anagram. Yeah, it's
yeah,
an
you know,
anagram for revenge. Now that
yeah.
okay, I remember what I was gonna say now.
Okay, say it.
So sorry guys. So we were talking about the synopsis and now we're not.
Yeah.
But my other pro is that I love a good revenge story. Okay. I love when people get justice. And that was the pro in this book too, was that the plot line, you got the justice. And for my K drama people, okay, if you've watched The Glory, it's not as satisfying as that, where all their lives are ruined or whatever. But let's just say the person that was deceased in this book got what came to them.
Period.
The dad
Yeah.
got what came to him. The
Period.
grandma
The grandma.
got what came to
Fuck
him.
that
I mean
bitch.
her. So yeah,
um,
so that's what I was gonna say.
really quick tangent, just because you brought up K drama or whatever. Yesterday, Crew and I watched K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh,
It kind of ate down.
yeah, the songs are really good. I actually didn't
Yeah.
finish it because I don't like when things have sad endings. Therefore, I won't watch it if I know it's a sad ending.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah,
I
I
cried.
don't, I don't, I don't fuck
Yeah.
with that. I don't fuck with that. Like, what do you mean they can't be together?
Yeah, it was, I mean, but he saved her. He really did.
He did.
Yeah.
We all have a demon inside of us, I guess, that needs to be saved, is the plot of the movie.
Okay, I
But
tried to look, I was like, what was the point of the movie? Because I was like, are we fighting our inner demons or what?
hey, it's too deep for the kids, man.
I
Like,
know. I was like,
but
oh.
I will say that I think that K-pop Demon Hunters has a really good soundtrack,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and I fucks with it.
Me
But
too.
I didn't watch the movie and finish it because I was mad
Yeah.
that they didn't end up together. Like, what the fuck do you mean they don't? Anyways, that's my qualm
Sorry.
about many K dramas.
Quick tangents because she knows I don't watch K dramas, but that was the closest
Yeah.
thing I was going to get to it. So,
I
anyways.
thought you were gonna say something like a different thing, and I was like, "Oh yeah, what K drama could you and crew possibly watch?" Because those are they get kind of
They're a little
crazy.
deep. Okay, so um they're at the funeral of the Evie Wrench. Yes. And it's this woman named Elizabeth Casper, and she has a husband, Ben Casper, and she is this world-renowned writer, New York's best-selling author, because she writes these really twisted thrillers.
Like fucked up.
Right. And so people are thinking that it was an accident, that she slipped and fell. People think that there's foul play. But Mackenzie notices that her dad at the memorial service is actually arguing with this man outside. And she's like, "Yo, dad, who the fuck is that man?" And he's like, "None of your business." And he's so
Yep.
rude to her. Um, but she basically kind of just goes in and talks about how like her parents, like she's kind of invisible to them, and that she's not known for being anyone other than Elizabeth Casper's daughter, or like Evie Renge's daughter. And
And the whole time I think like Mackenzie is, you get the view that Mackenzie is not very close with her. Like she keeps saying, I'm not really crying. Like no one's really crying. Everyone's here for a
mhm,
publicity thing. Like we weren't really that close, blah, blah. So it leads you to believe that they weren't really that close.
mhm,
So then she gets this letter in her car, like in her driver's seat. And it says, like we've said, it's from number one fan XOXO. And she reads it. And like Liz had already said, it says, do you want to know a secret? And all that stuff. Love, mom. So of course she's like what's going, first off, how'd this get into my car, second,
mhm,
is this a prank, or like what is this? So the natural thing to do, of course, is she calls her best friend EJ, tells him about the letters, and he's like fully invested now, and they go basically on this hunt, if you will, for like maybe if the letter is real, blah, 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 because
mhm,
she gets more letters as time progresses, and
mhm.
all of them give you a deeper insight to the past life of Elizabeth Casper, Ben Casper, this girl named Tanya, all that stuff. So
Yes.
I guess the storyline for Elizabeth Casper, if you will, through the
Mhm,
letters is that she starts to reveal that when she was first off in a group home,
mhm,
she was R-worded by
mhm,
these three boys,
mhm.
and she was
One
what,
of which was
15?
named Brandon.
Yes, Brandon.
Hey, Brandon,
And
please remember
that's all
that.
we know. Yeah, that's all we know is Brandon. And basically she was 15 at the time when she was in this group home, and they did this to her in like a barn that was
Mhm,
in the group home.
mhm.
So later on you find out that it's almost like her mom is confessing to like
Murder.
deceasing these, yeah, these
Yeah.
three boys, because there is a article that comes out that three boys were killed in this barn fire at this foster home. And as she's writing it, she basically is hinting at, hey, they died, they set on fire, like all this stuff. And you're like,
Mhm,
maybe she's the one who set the barn on fire, all
mhm,
this stuff. And
mhm,
so it toggles back and forth between present, like past, present, whatever. So EJ obviously is reading these letters with her. She very much wants EJ to be present. EJ is some like, she calls him like a nerd, I guess,
mhm.
because he does what, like software technology I don't
Yeah,
really know,
some
something with like
cyber
engineering.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's able to have friends who can get them documents, push the investigation along
Mhm.
further, all of that stuff. And then basically from there, do you want to tell them, I guess, like
Yeah.
how Tanya comes into play?
Yeah. So just touching back on EJ just really quickly too, in the beginning, you can kind of see the hints that Mackenzie like has a crush on him. But she always is thinking that she's not EJ's type because he dates these really pretty bombshell cyber girls, pretty much e-girls,
Yeah.
let's call them.
Yeah.
um, so fast forward a little bit, they kind of go, like Julia said, back and forth from present to past. So we get this view of Elizabeth Casper, and this is when she kind of like meets Ben, right? So she has two men in her life, Ben and John. John is like her bestie boo, like they
Coffee
do,
shop cafe guy.
yeah, and they do things on occasion, but not someone she, I guess, like saw herself with, essentially because she met Ben. And Ben is someone who is completely opposite of her. He's outgoing, he's a party guy, and she was defined as like a recluse.
Yeah, like very loner, like a
Yes.
mystery is how
Uh-huh.
everyone described her.
And that made this woman Tanya very jealous about her because they were at the group home together, Tanya and Elizabeth, and she started to notice that the mysteriousness of Elizabeth was really catching the eye of the guy that she really really liked, who was
Can you
Brandon.
guess the name? Brandon.
Literally.
Brandon,
So
this is all your
freaking
fault.
freaking Brandon, bro.
um so when the barn fire happened, they gave us a insight, and it was Elizabeth who poured all of the lighter fluid and set the barn on fire. But we find out that Tanya before that had drugged most of them, no, all of them, and they were drinking, so they were partying hard. and she stuck a piece of wood in the barn door handles
Yeah.
and trapped them in there. So this whole time, Elizabeth Casper thinks that like she unalived everybody, but really it was Tanya.
But okay, but like it was a little cray cray for her to be setting the barn on fire knowing that people are in there. Yes, we recognize that. We're not saying
We're
that she
not
didn't have a
saying that.
part. Yes, she did have a part, but she never intended on trapping them because they were always supposed to have a way out. Whereas
She
Tanya
just
was
wanted to scare him,
crazy.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so fast forward a little bit more. Tanya is on this witch hunt, let's call it, to expose Elizabeth and say, you're the one who ruined my life. You killed the love of my life, and blah, 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 blah. And Elizabeth believes this because Tanya's like, I have evidence.
Yep.
But like, what's your evidence, boo? Like, what?
Yeah. But Lizzie or Elizabeth is so paranoid that she does believe this. And so Tanya moves to Old Bay, I think is the town,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And she moves literally to this town to almost torment Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
So when she first encounters Tanya, she's like, hold on, like, who
Why are
is
you
you?
here,
You
bitch?
like, wait,
Yeah.
yeah, like, why are you here? And she notices that because Ben and her relationship was very almost like the secret side chick, like, none of his friends
Yeah.
really vibed with her, like,
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't a
Didn't know
partier. She
her.
never went out to the
Mm-hmm.
bars. They never really knew her. They never addressed her as like his girl. It was just
Mm-hmm.
the girl that he was with, the girl that he was sleeping with, that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
when Tanya came into town, Tanya was the opposite. Like she was the guy version of Ben. Very outgoing, very loud, very good partier. All his friends loved her, like that kind of stuff. So of course, they end up like hooking up, sleeping together on the side, and Lizzie has suspicions, but she doesn't really confront for a bit. And
Mm-hmm.
then she ends up confronting, but instead her outlet was writing.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like using these books that she's writing based off of her real life events. So you find out
Mm-hmm.
that her first book, Lies, Lies, and Revenge, is based off of the group home experience where the three men who did that to her
Mm-hmm.
basically, get what they deserve, but in a way more gruesome manner than was presented before.
Right. And she's really just like, like I said, like you said, writing as an outlet, right? It was never like she really committed these crimes, right? Like again, we're not saying her setting the barn on fire wasn't a crime, it was, but she had zero intentions of keeping them trapped in there, like Julia said. So like writing out her feelings and doing all these gruesome things to the boys in the book and stuff, it was just her way of writing her feelings out. Which,
Right. And
I
which,
mean,
like, it's fine if you want to keep a diary with really messed up things. One day it could
yeah.
be used against you, I'm sure. But, like, in this case, it was a little different. But so, like, I guess as the story goes on, too, Tanya and Ben's involvement gets more and more. I want to say, like, more and more involved in the sense that, like, Ben starts to actually like Tanya.
Yes. And it seemed like in the beginning, it seemed like he didn't even like Elizabeth like that. And like, which was hard for me to understand a little bit because it seemed like Elizabeth was not obsessed with him, but she was like very like not for a lack of better words, like obsessed with trying to get him to like her. But like the thing was is like she would say like, I know he comes home drunk and I know he comes home drunk to me. And like that was kind of like her way, like, at the end of the day he comes home to me. At the end of the day he comes home to me. But like, girl, no. You deserve better than that.
No, I agree. And so like one day though, she does decide she's going to go out and
Hmm.
she almost like basically she sees how Tanya is around him and then she's like, "Oh, I'm going to go." But then another time, she decides she's going to like camp out the bar and she
Hmm.
sees that Ben literally follows Tanya home and then they like
Hmm.
she sees with her own two pupils that they end up hooking up because
Yep.
she like wraps her leg around his waist, they kiss, all
Yes.
this stuff, whatever. And so then as time goes on though, you get to this letter where like it's almost like two part letters, and you can tell that whoever's sending these letters are trying to keep the suspense.
Yep.
And on the last letter that she receives before the, the very, very last one, it
Yep.
cuts off abruptly. And
Hmm.
so then this is where part two happens, where they go back to when Tanya, Ben, Lizzie, like all their story was unfolding. And basically during that timestamp, you get Tanya's point of view and you get Ben's point of view. And this is where you start to realize that Tanya is like actually psycho and evil and the driving force behind a lot of the fucked up things that was happening,
Yep.
because you get her point of view and she's basically saying like, I don't even like Ben's so fucking annoying, I want to punch this bitch out, like all this stuff. I said, huh?
This part threw me off. I feel like this was like I didn't expect this. I guess this could be like the little plot twist in the story because I didn't know that it was pre-planned for Ben to be like a part of Elizabeth's life as like a revenge plot. And again, Tanya knows that Elizabeth did not murder these people, but she's hanging it over her because she's so jealous of her. It's
Like
literally out of
obsessed.
pure jealousy. And so like when she was like, no, like you need to like oh, mind you, at this time, oh, we talked about the confronting, right?
No, I don't think actually that there was
Okay.
like, we talked about that.
So at one point Elizabeth actually confronts Ben. Then she follows them to like this cabin that they have or whatever and confronts her. Mind you, at this point Elizabeth is pregnant. And not that she don't know who the baby daddy is, she choosing who the baby daddy is. And it's going to be Ben.
Yep.
But she's literally making this lady go psycho, like following them, like doing all the things that she normally would not do, let's just say that. But like driving the woman up the wall. And I feel like this is how many side chick stories happen. One of them ends up just doing more things than the other. But like this whole thing was a revenge plot. This lady, Tanya, was so obsessed that she set all of this up, saying, Ben, this baby, great. This is awesome. You're going to have the baby with her. You're going to get married to her. You're going to do all the things. Because guess what? This lady is a great writer and she's going to be rich and we're going to steal all her money.
Like literally I was like, oh. But also it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know if personally, I don't know if I could ever be that upset, jealous, obsessive over somebody that I go through the lengths to like fully take someone's man, their kid, their money. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's part of the psych thriller because honestly speaking, maybe there are people like this out there who are that wild, I'm going to say. But I don't know. Like, normal people, I don't know if I could fathom that kind of obsession and jealousy to the point where you're doing all of that.
Like literally. And I feel like I understand, of course. No, I don't. I don't I don't understand like the pure hate she had for her, saying that she ruined her life when really she didn't. Like she really had zero motive to do all of this to her other than the fact that she was jealous. And like that shook me. I was like, not the jealousy driving you to do all these things and literally ruin this lady's life.
Yes, and why we say ruin is because so Lizzie finally was at a breaking point where she was like, I'm going to confront Ben. I know he hasn't been going home for the past year and a half. His mom says he hasn't been home. So, where has he been on the weekends? She drops him off every weekend to go somewhere. And of course, where is he going? He's going to Tanya's place. And it's like this lake cabin thingy that like, you reveal that she killed the owner to inherit this house, but said it was from a distant relative. So that was crazy. So
Yeah.
on like almost like the last night before they're going to do everything, reveal everything, Lizzie drives to this lake house because she followed Ben and she confronts Ben. She's like, I know you're in there. Like, Tanya, why are you trying to steal all this stuff? Why are you trying to steal my life? Blah, 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 blah. And this whole time, Tanya is playing the victim. She's telling Ben, you should ask her about the barn house. You should ask her about the three boys in the barn house. She stole everything from me, my first love, like all this stuff, saying that Brandon died because of her and now I don't have my first love, blah, blah, blah. Keep in mind, Tanya also was pregnant with Brandon's baby and then gave it up for adoption and has not told Ben this. Like, Ben does
Mhm.
not know the sliver of the messed up things and the sliver of a truth that is actually what happened at the foster home.
And just going back to how Tanya is also a shitty person, she was stalking her so bad even before Old Bay. Like she Elizabeth moved into this apartment at like that she had, and mind you, Ben worthless. He's broke. He doesn't have a place to live. Like he barely made it through college. Like all the things. I mean, I barely made it through college too, but I mean that's besides the point. But like he's just like a nobody, right? And Elizabeth's about to be the star, like all this stuff. So he ends up moving in with her to this apartment. Tanya, the slimy person that she is, gets in cahoots with the apartment
Grunger.
owner. Yeah, the
Yep.
apartment owner whose name is Grunger.
I think it's Grunger.
Grunger. And Grunger, he sells things. You know,
You
the
know.
those kinds of things. Okay, street things. Yeah, yeah. You're feeling my vibes. And so Tanya, she keeps this in the back of her mind to use as like bait, or like to use if she ever, she literally said at one point, she was like, I know where he keeps his stash. I literally see a phone booth outside if I ever need to call the police on him if he thinks things are going like awry or whatever. But she swoons this man so much that she was able to get a copy of Lizzie's apartment key to get into her apartment.
And so she starts like fucking with them. Like she puts a dead rat there. She changes the rug. She rearranges all of Lizzie's clothes. And she's like, Ben, are you doing this? Like, what's going on? And obviously, we're all like, Ben, you're so fucking stupid, bro. Like, clearly, your wife, your baby mama is concerned. And whatever. It doesn't matter. So back to the confrontation now.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
Lizzie's like, bitch, I know you're fucking in there. Like, all this stuff. And mind you, Lizzie is not like that. So for her to be going off like this, something must be wrong, right?
Yeah.
So as she's screaming all this stuff, her water breaks.
Mm-hmm, of
Okay.
course.
Yeah, of
We
course. I
knew
was like,
that was
oh,
gonna
dang, I could have seen
happen.
that coming. I know.
Yeah.
And so Tanya's like, Ben's like, we got to get her to the hospital. Like, let's go, let's go. And Tanya's like, no, we got to have the baby here. It's not going to be long enough. Like, she's not going to make it in time and the baby's going to be born, all this stuff.
Mind you,
So
she would have made it.
oh, absolutely. She would have made it. Like, absolutely. So Tanya basically forces Lizzie to have this baby in this lake cabin thing. And she's playing like midwife
Mhm.
almost. She's like grabbing boiling water. She's like, it's not that hard. Ben, you do this when I tell you, you come when I tell you to, like saying all these things. And Ben's like freaking out. So he's like tanking alcohol. He's also an alcoholic. So he's like taking his alcohol, like, oh my God, I can't see like this stuff. It's freaking me out. And so, Lizzie's obviously like, help, but Tanya's not letting her.
And Tanya at this point sedates her as well. Slips her some sedatives and makes her drink it or whatever. And Lizzie ends up losing a lot of blood.
A
And
lot.
like, I think Ben described it like as like it was just like pools of just
Yeah, like
red blood everywhere.
everywhere.
But of course, she ends up delivering the baby, and she's like just laying there now, just like vegetable-y. And
Yeah.
Tanya and Ben like start saying like she's just like mumbling stuff they can't understand, and like her condition continues to get worse, right? And so Ben whispers to Tanya like Mackenzie, and Tanya's like, the fuck? What are you talking about? And Ben's like, she wanted to name her Mackenzie. And she's like, okay, cool. That's awesome. I don't care. And like, the funny part was before the baby was born, she would talk to Ben and be like, like once she has the baby, like it'll be me, you, and the baby. Like this, it's fine. Like we're gonna take care of the baby. Da 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 da. But then once the baby was born, she's like, yeah, I don't give a shit, because she saw this as an opportunity to become Elizabeth Casper.
Yeah, and so before all this goes down, when EJ and Mackenzie went to visit Diane, who was the housekeeper at the foster home, who Lizzie actually really liked, basically she sees the book and she's like, of course it would be roses. And Mackenzie's like, yeah, mom was like allergic to everything except for roses. And she's like, and then she looks at the picture again. She's like, of course. And Mackenzie's like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you acting so weird? And she's like, no, that's Tanya. And that's how the ball gets rolling about Mackenzie being like, hold on a second. what do you mean? All of these pictures are of my mom. And she's like, wait, no, 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 no. And like,
Okay.
so, so basically that's how the ball gets rolling. And so, yes, because when she goes to the house, like the apartment where Ben and Lizzie are to pack up Ben's stuff, because they're going to be basically camping out this lake house, keeping Lizzie prisoner, the phone keeps ringing.
Mhm.
And she's like, fuck, what if it's something like really important, you know? So she picks up, and it is the agent, the literary agent who's been trying to get a publishing deal for
Leanna,
Lizzie.
right?
For,
Or
yeah,
something
or
like that.
Lama, isn't it? I don't know how
Lama,
to
I
spell
don't
it,
know what her.
whatever.
It starts with an L.
Yeah, she lame anyway.
Lame
So
as fuck.
basically, literally. And so basically, that gets the ball rolling, and she's like, hi, is this Elizabeth? And she's like, yeah. Or like, who is this, you know, blah blah blah. And basically she shares the good news that she got her this like basically $1 million publishing deal. It's gonna be so great. And Tanya's like, oh my god, you know, like she's like, oh my god, this is,
Slay.
yeah, she's like, this is exactly what I needed, like blah 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 blah. And Elizabeth is like, when can you meet? And keep in mind, her literary, sorry, not Elizabeth, Lima is like, when can you meet? And keep in mind, she's never met Lizzie. She's only emailed her.
Mhm.
So she has no idea what this woman looks like, all this stuff. And so Tanya takes this opportunity to be like, how about like next week? You know? And so she goes back to Lake House and she tells Ben, oh, the good news. She's so happy, all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go to New York next week. And you're going to have to start calling me Lizzie and like Elizabeth. Like, you can't call me Tanya
Yeah.
anymore. We're going to
She's
make
like,
this
forget
work.
that.
Mm-hmm. She like dyes her hair the jet black. She puts on the red lipstick that Lizzie always wore, all that stuff. So she goes to New York, comes back, and this whole time Ben's like, "What are we gonna do about Lizzie, bro? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Like, she's not getting any better. All this stuff." And then she comes back, and basically Lizzie's like lost her marbles and just keeps writing like all these horrible fairy tales. And she's like, "Wait, this is great." Because not after the first two book publishes, I'm gonna use this and publish it as like a third fairy tale story.
And the other part of it was too when Tanya had left, Ben actually did try to take her to the hospital. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, come on, like we have to go before she comes. And she just did not want to be touched by him. And like she didn't trust him,
Yep.
obviously, like because they just put her
Why
through all
would
of this.
you?
Right. So after all of that, essentially, not Lizzie, Mackenzie and EJ continue to dig. They want to know more about the fire. They want to know more about, why was Tanya pretending to be my mom? Like all these things. And so once they once they meet with Diane, like Julia said, and they get all those answers, they go back and they I think they went and looked more into the actual barn fire because
They tried.
because at that point Diana or Diane whatever hadn't told them what she knew when she saw Mackenzie running away from the barn and not Mackenzie Elizabeth running away from the barn and Tanya coming in later than her. Um but yeah, they tried to dig more into that, couldn't find anything. But Mackenzie has a housekeeper now. Her name is Minnie or Minna.
Mm-hmm. Or Minna, I
Minna.
think is it.
And we're terrible with names, by the way. We just read the
Yeah.
book.
Remember when we said fourth wing that we can't pronounce anything? Yeah, still stands. Unless
So
your name is super easy, it's not happening.
literally. So she talked about how she loved Minna because Minna was the only one who truly saw her for who she was and who loved and cared about her. And now it starts to make sense why, Tanya obviously didn't care much for Mackenzie, and I guess neither did Ben, but he didn't know that he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the dad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but they start getting phone calls to the house, and mind you, there's many people who are calling the house phone to say like, sorry for your condolences, sorry for this, sorry for that, blah blah blah. So Minna's cooking and the phone starts ringing or whatever, and Mackenzie's like, oh, don't worry, like I got it. And they keep saying too, or Mackenzie keeps saying like, when Tanya was alive, she was the one who was taking care of all the bills and all. So everything is just stacking up, right? And she talks about how no one was allowed in the office, and that when she had came home one day, she saw her dad in there just looking for something, looking and looking, looking. Okay, so um, EJ and Mackenzie, they want to know what they're looking, like he's looking for, or she, whatever. So they end up breaking into the office too, and EJ finds that there's a latch that is like, it's a secret drawer latch, and they open it and it's all the original manuscripts.
Yes, like handwritten
Yes.
manuscripts.
So they take all of that or whatever, blah blah blah. So going back to the phone call, they end up getting a phone call to the house, and Mackenzie picks it up, and apparently there's a bill due at some company.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can't remember.
remember
It was
what.
something hack and saw. I don't
Oh,
remember. Like,
Huckleberry,
yeah, Huckleberry. There we go.
Huckleberry Supplies, and this isn't recognizable to Mackenzie, so she's like, Huckleberry Supplies, like,
Yeah, like
blah
she
blah
doesn't
blah blah
really think
blah.
anything of it, you know?
Right. So from there, they're still doing more research or whatever, and then it gives a flash into when Professor Robert, is that his name, Roberts?
I think it's Ramos or something. I don't remember. It starts with an R.
Whatever, Professor R. um when they're this is Mackenzie's college course or whatever, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to write about. And so he put like he made them all write something down and then put it into a hat. He was going to draw it, something like that. And one of the ones that he pulled was it do something over Evie Renge?
Yeah, something like that. It's basically like to do something related to
Right.
Evie Renge.
And so this is the first time that he finds out that Mackenzie is the daughter of Elizabeth Casper. And so, they do all these things or whatever, and then it fast forwards again, and then she like passes out in his class or something.
Yeah, I think like a seizure or something like
Uh-huh.
that.
And from then on, he's like, "Oh, how's your health condition? How's your health condition?"
Like very
And
concerned.
yes. And in the background of this, at the time, like, we didn't put the pieces together, but at the time, he's actually putting the pieces together. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, he hadn't read a story from Evie Renge, but when he finally did, he realized that the name was Elizabeth Casper, Mackenzie Casper, whatever. But then, like, also realizes that that's not her."
Mm-hmm. Like from the picture, he's like, because basically people are saying that from, if you look from afar, like the
Mhm.
build, the look, the hair, you would be like, oh yeah, that's Elizabeth Casper. But if you got very close, that's when you knew that that wasn't Elizabeth Casper, because
Mhm.
they were actually very different. And because, John was crushing on her big time back then, he knew who Elizabeth Casper was. So when he stalked Tanya and was like, wait, that is not Elizabeth Casper.
Yeah.
So he started to uncover the truth as well.
Yes.
Dun
So
dun.
there's multiple people now, like, just trying to look into all of these things or whatever. But his little mind starts a clicking, because we find out later in the book he also has the same condition, and it's hereditary. Dun dun
Sure is.
dun.
Yes. So basically, like as the story progresses or whatever, their family's already being investigated because people don't think that Tanya or Elizabeth Casper's death is like accidental. So basically, Mackenzie decides that she's going to confront Ben and the family about everything that she's uncovered.
Mhm.
EJ's like, are you sure you want to do that? Because I've read this in novels and people get like pewed, and
Yes.
whatever. She's like, no, I'm going to do it. So she goes and she confronts. And when she gets there, though, it's like this dude in a baseball cap that they don't know who it is, the one that was arguing at the beginning of the story, Ben, who's the dad, grandma, and then the literary agent. And she's like, that is so weird. Like, why are they all here? Why are they arguing? Whatever. And so Mackenzie steps in and they're like, oh my God, And
Mackenzie.
she's like, yeah, she's like, oh my God. And grandma's like, this isn't a really good time. Like, she's like, no, we're
This
going
is
to
a great
talk.
time.
She's like, we gonna talk. And so she confronts them, and Ben's never been a good liar, basically, is so he, like, his face basically just says it all.
Mhm.
But grandma's pretending to go with the flow, and she's like, it's time she knew Ben. Here, Mackenzie, but we need to get you a glass of wine because, like, it just we could
We're
talk over a
setting the
glass of wine.
vibes.
And honestly speaking, Mackenzie was so stupid for this because I was like, ma'am, I
Me
would not be
so,
drinking the
for
glass of
real.
wine. Yes.
Literally.
So what does Mackenzie do? She drinks this glass of wine and she's like trying to say all these things. And then suddenly she's like, wow, like I'm getting really sleepy. She passes out. So
Mhm.
then she wakes up the next morning with like a hangover, and she basically is like, damn, I fucking got drugged, bro. And I'm like, bro, anyone could have seen that coming. And
BFFR.
literally. And so she was like, okay, I have to pretend like everything's fine, that I don't remember anything, because clearly they're trying to shut me the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And so she calls EJ, because EJ has been trying to reach her all night. And he's like, what the fuck? I thought something happened to you. And she's like, sorry, like, I'm fine. Anyway, can you do me a favor? Can you like blah, 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 all this stuff? And she's like, if I don't call you in 2 hours, then call me, like blah, blah, blah. But everything's okay. I should be able to call you in 2 hours. She goes downstairs, and the grandma's like, oh, well, originally your mom left everything to Ben, but we kind of tweaked it with the lawyer so that you could get a trust fund at 25. So basically they were trying to buy her silence, and they're making her sign this NDA.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes along with it, all this stuff,
And
and
mind you,
then
they looked through her phone.
they did, or they
They tried to
tried, but
find, yeah.
yes, and they couldn't. And so basically what ends up happening is she signs this NDA, whatever, she goes to classes, and then on her way back from something, the detective that was investigating this is like, hey, and she's
Hey,
like,
girl.
hey, and like, hey, and
Hey.
and so she starts trying to tip the like investigator off without breaking the NDA, right? Like she's like, have you ever like do you do like theft
Identity
cases, like
fraud.
identity theft,
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And she's like, can I like call you for my school assignment? And he's like,
Sure.
yeah. Can I call you 5 questions about stuff? She goes, yeah. So then they start, getting the ball rolling on this thing. And then that's when she finds out about like how Dr. Professor whatever, his
Mm-hmm.
first name is John.
Yeah, John. How
She's
he's tied
like,
into the story
wait a damn minute, John, like the one
from the
from the
letter.
diary, like
Uh
the
huh.
one that mom was like besties with.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes to him and like finds his address, goes to his house, listens to his story, sees the scar on his arm. That's how she figures out that maybe this is the John, because he has a very distinct star-shaped scar on his arm from when Ben fucked his shit up.
Yeah.
And so from then, she's like, I want to go to Old Bay. Like, I want to see all the places that my mom lived, the coffee shop, the
Mm-hmm.
town, the dorm, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, fine. Like, let's go. So basically, the story progresses, and they go to this town with Diane, and they're like looking at all these things. And then that's when we had said in the beginning, the sharp teeth thing.
Mm-hmm.
As they're driving to the airport, she's like,
They're at the gas
wait,
station.
yeah, they go to the gas station, and she sees the, I don't know what it was, like she walks out, she turns, and she
The sign.
sees like the sign that says whatever the store name is, and she's like,
Huckleberry Supplies.
yeah, and she's like, wait, that phone call. So she goes up to the desk, and she's like, does somebody here have an account under blah 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 blah? And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
no. They're like, what about this phone number? And she goes, oh yeah, it looks like you got something like 7 weeks overdue, buddy.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, like, what's the address? And they're like, well, we can't give you the address. And John and Diane are like, well,
It's
we
a
could take it
murder
to the
case.
police.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
we could take it to the police instead. They'll shut down your store. And they're like, fine. They give the address, risk of missing the flight. They drive to this address, and this lady comes out, and they're like, oh, that's not her, that's not her. And she's like, hi, like, how can I help you guys? Who are you? They're like, who are you? And she's like, well, I'm a nurse, I'm a caretaker, the family who hires me. They're like, who's inside? And she's like, I can't tell you that. I get paid like a lot of money. All I can tell you is that the person's very sick, she doesn't really talk. And then she does, like, she has really good days, she has really bad days, and I'm basically the person who's preventing her from having bad days with people like you who trigger her. And all of a sudden, though, the door opens, and she comes out, and she's like, huh, that's weird. Like, she doesn't usually come out. I was like, yeah, weird. And that's when John and Diane are like, oh my God,
and
that's
then
Lizzie.
Mackenzie's like, oh, it's true. Like, I am a spitting image of her and blah, 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 blah. Come to find out, the medicine that Elizabeth was, the real Elizabeth, was getting prescribed was like a mixture of like sedatives and blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, as always. So the nurses started to realize, like, oh, like she's not getting better. Let's just pull back on some of her medication. So she was getting off the sedatives essentially a little bit at a time. But yes, she comes out of the house. They have this whole little moment or whatever. We find out that she's been stuck there, and that during birth she actually had a stroke. So
Yeah.
that's why she was very vegetable-y, and like they're still keeping her alive and X, Y, and Z. So the story basically ends at that point. Like they have like this cute little Thanksgiving dinner. Ben gets arrested. The grandma gets arrested. Uh, all
Nothing
the
happens
things.
to the publisher, unfortunately.
Yeah, nothing happens to the publisher. But EJ and Mackenzie end up getting together. It's very adorable. Again, not very much needed, but it was there. Mackenzie, starts to feel a little woozy at Thanksgiving dinner, and they're at John's house, and she goes into the cabinet and she's like, "Oh, I'm just going to take something for it," or whatever, like a little Tylenol, Advil moment. And she realizes that John is prescribed the same medicine that she is prescribed.
And at the same time, there happens to be another letter that appears like this is a year after everything where people are getting arrested. And she reads it, and the mom said, like, but what if Ben doesn't have anything to do with you?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, ding, ding, ding. Oh my God, it's
Mm-hmm.
John.
And then we get Diane's point of view, or Diana, whoever she is.
Yes. This was satisfying.
Yeah. So, when Mackenzie went to meet Diana, that's what I'm going to call her, for the first time, um, she was very cautious. Both of them were very cautious. But Diana very much so denied everything, didn't know much or whatever, and said that she never read any of Elizabeth Casper's books, all the things. Well,
Lies.
she did, because she remembered was she went to the gas station, and there was a book,
Mm-hmm.
or there was the register person was reading Lies, Lies, and Revenge. And she was like, "Oh my god, this book is really good." Da 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 da. She was like, "Oh, let me read it or whatever." Realizes that that picture in the back that she had told Mackenzie that was not Elizabeth. She had already knew that it was Tanya, so she stalked her. I mean, she said, "I was old. I had nothing to do. What was I going to do with my life?" She was like, "I just flew over there." Oh no, she drove three
Yeah,
days
she
to the
drove
East Coast.
3 days.
Yeah. And stalked her and was like, "What are you doing, Tanya? Like, I know this is not you, like, da 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 da." And this was Tanya on a walk, or like on a run or whatever. And she brought her shotgun, by the way. uh,
That's my favorite thing about Diane is this lady she be packing it on her, bro.
Literally. Um, and backed Tanya pretty much into a corner, just confronting her. She wasn't going to hurt her or anything. It was a very public area. And even Tanya said that. She's like, "What are you going to do to me? Like, shoot me? Like, no."
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Tanya took too many steps backwards and slipped on a rock, cracked her head open, and died.
Yep. And so Diane already knew that this bitch was dead, that it wasn't an accident, and didn't get caught. So snaps, claps, periods for Diane because she is the queen of this story right now. And so basically, after that is then finally when you get the point of view of this dude who's like on a yacht, he's like drinking a beer, he's like eating, and then he says, "Oh, well, I kind of just wanted to fuck with Tanya and I kind of wanted to fuck with her. So I decided I'm going to send these letters to Mackenzie and see what happens because he's been giving this like luxurious life where he gets this stipend almost because Tanya had ratted him out to the feds and all that stuff. And so then the story ends and you're like, all right.
Vibes.
Yeah. You're
Straight
like, all
vibes.
right.
Yeah, it was
Well,
Granger sending the letters, and he was getting paid off by Tanya to just be quiet. But this whole
yep.
time, Ben thought that she was messing around with this guy, like da 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 da. But Granger was in love with Tanya. He wanted to be with her, and he had no idea that Tanya was the one who sent him to jail 15 years ago. So,
So,
and it's funny
so
because he said in the back, he was like, "Whenever I do find out who snitched on me," he was like, "I'm gonna crack their
I'm going to
heads
kill
open."
him.
Yeah. And I was
I
like,
know. I
"Already
was like,
happened."
I said, ironic. But more of the story is that everyone's crazy.
Yeah,
The family is real fucked up,
super. They're
but
fine
here we
now.
are. They're fine. Yeah,
Happy.
they're fine now.
Mm-hmm.
EJ, John, they're all living their best lives. So
Living, vibing.
honestly, I vibed with the book. I thought that
Yeah.
it was good. And like
Mhm.
honestly, I was scared to read it because I'm like, oh, am I going to be disappointed? But I wasn't disappointed. I think it's a good recommendation if you're looking for something that's going to scare you. Unfortunately, this is not the book for you.
Mm-mm.
If you're looking for something that like is good pace, it will keep your attention and you get all the answers you're looking for, definitely read this book. If you're one of
Yeah.
those people who you don't like answers and you want to be confused, well,
Go read something else. Happiness Falls, maybe.
yeah. Yeah, happiness. I was going to say read happiness falls out. You're going to be like, what the
What
fuck was
the
that?
what? Yeah.
So, with
Um
that being said,
well, go,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I hopefully this wasn't too all over the place. It has been a while since we have used our microphones here. So
Yeah.
um but good read,
Here we are.
easy read. Hope you guys also read it. I mean, well, what would be the
Yes.
point if you now listen to this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, if you still want to read it after this, we spoiled it for you. You might just want to read it for the adventure. I don't know. Or maybe you can recommend us a book. I don't know. Like, I feel like we recommend books, but no one recommends books to us. So we
Yeah.
just go off TikTok. And I
Yeah.
mean, TikTok hasn't really led me astray that many times. It has some other times, but like
Not too
you
many
said, you found this one
times.
on like a Facebook group. So therefore,
Yes. There's potential out there. So
mhm.
we just want to say thank you for being patient with us, of course, always. Julia has done an amazing job keeping up our social media. So we're present there. We are getting
We
back
tried to
into
be.
recording again. She is now traveling very much,
Mhm.
and I am now done with my dental admissions exam. So
Woohoo.
we are going to have more time.
Yes. Be more present, have more time, do more things.
Yes.
So, yeehaw. And that's where I'm
Yeehaw.
going to end it is a yeehaw, ha yee. Join us for the next episode. Christmas time, we haven't decided what we're going to read quite yet.
But Christmas starts now, okay?
Yeah.
And we are going to read a Christmas book now. And Julia picked up a Advent
Yes,
book
the
or
advent
whatever.
calendar thing.
So I'm gonna go get that too. And maybe we could do like 25 days of Christmas or something.
Yes, I'm down. But also, I actually just saw on TikTok, I was going to tell you, there's also a murder mystery one for Christmas. So it's a Christmas murder and it's an advent book too. So I'm like,
At Barnes and Noble.
hmm, I think so. Or I don't know. I didn't check, but I saw it on my TikTok
Do you
just now.
remember
I
what
think I
it's
flagged
called?
it. I don't know. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look, and then we'll
Okay.
discuss. But so we got some options. But I think 25 days of Christmas would be fun.
Yes.
We could just do our thing.
That'll be a vibe.
So with that being said, stay tuned. We have a couple episodes that we will probably line up for you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'm saying it right now because November
Yes.
2nd means that it's Christmas.
And if you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays.
Yes, Happy Holidays. Enjoy the time. Get the weather going. It's getting cold. It's getting frosty. I got my jacket. So, with
She's
that being said,
frosty.
Frosty the
The
snowman.
snowman.
But until next time, you guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.